And then I said to myself, damn it, I am a witch and a Reiki master. Welcome back to the Glow Up Revolution. I'm Megan Winkler, your host, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. A few things. First of all, I am recording on Sunday. So if you're listening to this on Monday, September 8th, I recorded this yesterday. Another thing is if you see some bruising on the video, just know that I had a cupping appointment today. I'm kind of showing some of that for the listeners who are not tuning in on YouTube. But if you see me online and I'm blotchy, that's what that is. It was an amazing appointment. It was intense in all the best ways and really opened up a bunch of stuff. So, just showing up in that radical authenticity again, yet this week. I've been going through a lot of changes that are really great. And today we're going to dive into something that feels really simple and has the power to shift everything in your life. And I'll get into that in a minute. But before I do, I want to share with you something that happened yesterday. So not only was this massage appointment completely spur of the moment, I've been having issues with my shoulder since I got sick. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a massage. I'm going to schedule one for the weekend. And I got the text message yesterday morning, Saturday morning, saying, oh, your therapist is sick and can we reschedule? And I was like, I'll figure something out and I'll reschedule it for later the week. Thank you so much. All this thing. And a couple hours later, they reached out and they said, oh, we just had a cancellation for this other therapist and we can get you at 9 a.m. And I said, yes, 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 please, let's do it. And they were like, as a thank you, we're going to add on a service and you can choose from these. And I was like, oh, cupping. It'd be great. I'm like, that's perfect. Thank you, universe. Well, that was a couple hours before I had gotten ready for our kind of day out. We had some daytime meetings. We were meeting with my husband, Mike, and I. We were meeting with a local advocacy group, and then we're going to go like grab a late lunch kind of thing. And so I'm laying on the bed with Trudy and I suddenly hear, Megan? I'm like, yeah. And Mike goes, you need to see this. And I'm like, I'm running through like everything in my head, right? I'm like, okay, so Trudy's on the bed with me, so I know it's not her. Like, what's going on? I had the door open most of the day yesterday when we were home because it suddenly was in the low 60s and it felt absolutely magical. It was gorgeous. Like that cool cloudy weather that like we have it here in Texas, we got to jump on it, right? And so we have like instead of a regular door, we have one of those screens that has like the magnets in the center so that Trudy can go in and out as much as she pleases. Keeps the bugs out. Well, it does not keep the birds out. Evidently, we had a bird fly into our house. And the way that this poor little guy had to get in the house, he had to fly in. We have a 2-story house, so he flew in the back door and he was up in the library. It would be a game room in anybody else's house, but it's actually a full library. He had flown up into the library on the second floor. And we have these beautiful windows up there. And then in our entryway, kind of like you could see through our house if you're in the right angle. But they're both very clear and clean and open. We actually have a lot of birds that fly into them from the outside, thinking they're like holes and all that. Poor babies. Anyway, it's up there, and I'm like, oh, well, shit. Okay, well, I mean, I worked in a bird store as a teenager, and I also I owned a parrot for a number of years. Like, birds I get. Squirrels, if a squirrel was in the house, I'd be like, I'm sorry, like, Trudy's just gonna have to catch it and take it back outside because I can't. Spiders I'm fine with. All the stingy hornets and all that I'm good with. But birds I'm really good with. Like I'm just like, let's do it. But don't make me catch a lizard. And don't make me catch a snake. Danny got upstairs into the bathroom upstairs a couple of years ago, and in the sink there was a little garden snake, and it was harmless. And I'm like, nope, nope, gonna nope right out of there. Anyway, so I'm like, all right. So I've got like this big bath towel. And I figured out that this little bird is flying from the library to the front entryway to the library. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I try to like kind of corral him. And he's like this big. He's like a little finch or sparrow. And so I have this towel. I'm going to catch him. And he flies off. And I'm like, okay, here we are. So put Trudy outside. She's out back. Door's closed. Front door is open. Right. And it was one of those days where it was like really kind of bright outside, like shiny outside almost, if that makes sense. Like the light was getting caught between like the clouds and the ground. So it like had that kind of like almost reflective quality to it. Anyway, so I open the door and I go back up to the library and he flies over to the entryway. And then I'm just like, okay, I'm up at the library and I've got this towel and I'm kind of shaking it to like be a threat. And I watch him as he flies from the window to the top of a picture frame. And I mean, like, he's the tiniest little bird. And so he doesn't even tip the picture. He like flies to the picture frame. I'm like, okay, cool. And then he flies. We've got our elliptical machine in our front room. So he flies down to the elliptical machine. I'm like, okay, cool. And then he flies down to the little futon that's sitting right by the front door. And I'm like, dude, like, you just have to go, bloop, and you be up. So I go to the other side of the library because I don't want to, I want to keep like kind of hurting him out that way. So then I get to the top of our stairs and the front door's here. Like, if you're not watching, imagine like you're standing like upstairs and facing the front of my house. And the front door is in like the bottom left corner and the top of the stairs is at like the top right corner. Okay. And so I'm standing up there and I'm like, I don't want him to fly back up to the library. And then I said to myself, damn it, I am a witch and a Reiki master. And this whole time I've been talking to the bird, and my son thought it was so funny because he could hear me from his bedroom. And I'm just like, buddy, keep going. And I was like, okay, let's go. And so I just started sending like Reiki energy like toward him. And I'm like, go out the door, go out the door, go out the door, go home, go back outside, all these things. And he hops down onto the ground, like in my front entryway. And then he doesn't fly. He hops his little ass right out the front door and then flies off. Boom, done. It took like 4 minutes. And then of course I had to look up the spiritual significance of a bird flying in your house. And, there's like the whole like, oh, if an owl flies in or if a crow flies in, it's bad news, bad luck, whatever. No, a bird flying into your house is often seen as being good luck, that change is on the way, but positive change is on the way. Transformation is here. And if it's like a little sparrow, that's one of Aphrodite's animals. And I have been working with her off and on for the past year or so. And so it was just really cool to just be like, okay, all right. So like my little witchy self. And this weekend, today is the eclipse, the full moon in Pisces, lunar eclipse, blood moon. And just, I'm feeling extra witchy today. So I just had to share that because that was just so much fun. And I hope you enjoyed that story too. I had to tell somebody. Anyway, so on to today's topic. Today's topic is also inspired by an interaction I had recently, and it's getting specific with your feelings. So when you're able to get specific with your feelings, it will shift a lot of things. So I have a lot of women in my life, like friends and clients and all that, who say things like, I just feel disconnected from my spirituality or just feel off. And some even say something like, I just feel off. Like I can't put my finger on it. It's just, I don't know, something's off. Um, but that doesn't give you a whole lot of information. So if you're like, oh, I just feel like I haven't been in touch with my spirituality. First of all, that is 100% normal. 100%. The idea that we're going to be and feel and act the same way every day is a patriarchal structure and a structure of capitalism. We're not going to be the same every day. We're going to shift. We're going to move. We are going to feel more witchy some days, less witchy other days. We're going to feel more creative some days, less the other days. Totally fine. However, when we say something like, oh, I just feel disconnected, it's like, what does that mean? And for me, when I took on the new kind of business title of the Sacral Strategist, I was like, yeah, that makes sense because I'm always diving into the strategy behind things. And one of the strategies that I've found helps is to say, well, what does that mean? Like, what does spirituality mean to you? Um, and the reason is twofold, maybe threefold. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here. First of all, the brain doesn't like open loops. So when it's vague, our brain kind of tends to fill in the blank with stories. So, like, if you're saying, I haven't been connected to my spirituality, then it's like, you start thinking, maybe I'm not spiritual enough. Maybe I've lost touch. Maybe I need to try harder. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Like, maybe there's something missing. And then suddenly, like, this one kind of just vague sentence that you've said to try to identify your feelings has spiraled into what could be like a little mini identity crisis, right? It also doesn't provide any sort of evidence and proof that you actually are aligned in your spirituality. Because my guess is that you are more aligned with the thing that you feel like you're unaligned with than you're giving yourself credit for. When you're vague, the feelings kind of make it impossible to know what you need, right? So when you're getting specific, that that is where the magic happens. So if you take the phrase as an example of I feel disconnected from my spirituality, maybe what's actually true is I feel lonely because I haven't meditated or prayed or come together with community in a while. Or maybe it's like I'm feeling restless because my practice looks a lot different than it used to. Or maybe I feel sad because I miss a ritual I once had. Or it could even be like I've been watching a lot of witch talk and I don't feel like I'm good enough because I'm not doing all these things. Or I listened to somebody on witch talk that said, do not do something like, practice magic on the eclipse. And you did. And you're like, well, maybe that's the problem. So when you're getting clearer on what it is, you're going to go in a different direction. So all of these examples that I just gave you went in different directions and would have been caused by different causes. Like if you're craving a group of people to be with, you're missing connection with other people, and that can affect how you feel about your spirituality. Restlessness is going to be difficult. So if you're restless and you're wanting more, and especially right now, because this eclipse is bringing this sense of restlessness and ambition and craving and hunger, it might invite some curiosity, some experimentation, changing things up, right? Like if you get bored with your practice, it could be that you've outgrown it and it's time to take it deeper or do something different. So let's get super specific. Here's a few practices you can try because I like to always give you some ideas and some practices. So first, pause and ask, what do I actually mean by that? Like if you say, I'm disconnected from my spirituality, what does spirituality mean to you? And even better, like maybe you can create kind of this avatar of a person who is spiritual. Like create something. Don't say, oh, that person on the internet or that celebrity or whatever. Create the version of you in your head, in your journal about what it looks like, what she looks like, feels like, how she acts, what she says when she is being spiritual. And then like really dig into like what are the emotions there, right? So like if you said, I feel off, like I don't know, I just feel off. I just feel off. I just feel off. What's under that? Are you tired? Are you overwhelmed? Are you lonely? Are you bored? Are you restless? Are you sad? Naming the real feeling is going to take you deeper. Next, you're going to tune into your body. Emotions live in your body. My cupping session today was just further indication of that. It's a truth that I have held for a very long time, that emotions live in our body and they express themselves in our bodies before they reach the brain, right? So when we feel things like a tight chest, heavy shoulders, restless energy, like just like vibrating, your body can give you clues about whether you're feeling sadness, anger, fear, anxiety, like anything else, right? So then third, we're going to name the layers. So it's like, okay, so you're feeling off. Let's say you're feeling off. And so then you realize it's like, oh, I'm kind of feeling disconnected from people. I feel lonely. So name the layers. Sometimes what you're feeling is more than one thing. So you could be feeling disconnected from your community. So you're feeling lonely. And then what goes along with that is feeling sad or feeling stuck. Feeling stuck is really hard to define. So if you're feeling these different things all at once, no wonder you feel off. I mean, honestly. So getting honest about the mix helps you move with it instead of resisting it. And finally, you need to translate that into a solution for yourself, kind of like what you need. If the feeling is loneliness, then maybe the need is connection, right? If the feeling is restlessness, maybe what you need is something new. You need some creativity, you need freedom. Maybe you need to just take your schedule and like topsy-turvy it and try something new. And that's how we move away from I'm feeling disconnected. I am not connected to my spirituality. I feel off to here's how I can care for myself. Here's how I can fix it. Because the thing is we can go to therapy, we can work with coaches, we can get cupping done, all these things. But the real change happens when we take some ownership of the situation and we say, okay, this is how I can help myself. I can get help and support over here. And you know me, if you've been in my sphere for any length of time, I am a huge, huge supporter of therapy and all the healing modalities that you want to explore. I am here for it all. And there's a piece that you've got to change, right? So let's reframe some stuff and look at these ebbs and flows, not as good or bad. Right? So sometimes feeling disconnected isn't bad. Sometimes it's actually a sign that you've outgrown an old version of your practice, your beliefs, or your identity. So if you're like, I feel disconnected from my spirituality, my spiritual practice, my witchiness. First of all, that's okay. That's normal. And if it persists, why are you feeling disconnected from your magic? Is it maybe because you're ready for the next level? Maybe that it's an invitation to evolve. And maybe that it's time for you to take the next big step into the new you. Some food for thought, my friends. So here's what I want you to remember. Vague feelings, vague words lead to vague solutions. Specific feelings, specific words lead to clarity, compassion for yourself, and empowered action. So this week, I am inviting you to notice the vague words that you might use. So off, stuck, disconnected, even like uncentered, ungrounded. And instead of stopping there, go one level deeper. Ask yourself, what do I actually mean? What am I really feeling? And if you want a journal prompt to play with for this week, here's one. When I say I feel disconnected, what do I actually mean? What emotion is under that? And what is this feeling pointing me toward? Because the truth is, your feelings are not here to confuse you, my friend. They are here to serve you and guide you, but we need to be willing to listen to them, right? Thank you so much for being with me today. I hope that you're really listening to your body and your emotions this week. I want to invite you to join me over on Substack if that sounds cool to you. I have created kind of a two-tier experience. It is the Inner Altar Sanctuary. And the Substack version of that is an $8 a month or $80 for the year membership, where you receive a gorgeous PDF each month on the goddess archetype that we're following for the month, as well as a fun Spotify playlist and a community chat to join. You're also going to get access to all the paid and the free articles over there on Patreon. If you want to take that a step deeper, for $222 a month, you can add on a one-on-one call with me and also unlimited WhatsApp access to me. So you can message me questions, you can message me images, videos, card pulls, all of that. It's kind of like having me in your back pocket, kind of as your witchy bestie. So if you want to learn more about that, you can just head over to my website, meganwinkler.com, and that's where you can always find my services and schedule calls with me, a burnout healing session, an energy profile reading, Reiki energy healings, or much more. And I hope we can hang out online. Come find me at It's Megan Winkler on both Instagram and TikTok, and I would love for you to drop in my DMs and say hi when you do. Thanks again for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to comment on this episode too, because I'd love to help you. And until next time, have a beautiful, magical week. And as always, stay magical.